Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi, and today we're going to take a look at all of the holiday collections that have come out this year that I have picked up, and we are going to be giving them a grade. So let's go ahead. We're going to go through the collections. We'll look at a photo of the entire collection. I'll focus on some of the key items that I picked up from there, but we'll grade the collection overall. And then, there are a few where the collection itself might be only okay, but there are a couple items that are my top favorites. So we'll look at those as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to start off with the Pat McGrath holiday collection. Now, her holiday collection was massive. She released so many items, and I have to say, I think she did a phenomenal job. So this here, I actually just recently started using this, but this is the Mega Palette, the Celestial Nirvana that came out this year. And what I really like about this is how you've got kind of a whole bunch of different color stories grouped. You've got something more like neutral here. You've got, kind of your cooler tone brights, warmer tone brights, pinks, purples, so forth. So I think this was really well done. I think it's a great palette. I also picked up, her color mascaras, which are phenomenal. Personally, my favorite is the blue one. So here's the blue, and I love color mascara, but I like a hint of color. I don't want like a ton of, so I don't really care for the pink one so much because I feel like it's too out there for me. But this blue, although it's a bright blue, you can build this up so you get something very, very blue and kind of out there, but it's also, close enough to, a neutral or navy that you could make this more subtle. So I think this just gives a really great pop. Absolutely love it. I think it is fantastic. I also really like, actually wearing this today, the blush she came out with this year, the Nude Venus 2. I think this is a really nice blush, and it's just a nice addition to the other items. And her 5 pans, I know they got mixed reviews overall, but I personally like them. I thought they were a really nice addition, nice way to play with the formulas. Overall, I would have to give Pat McGrath's holiday collection an A. I think she did a really great job. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. Those are kind of some of the standouts to me, as well as her metallic matte liquid lipsticks. So I have talked about these in a few videos already. This one here is my favorite, and this is Rose Divinity. So we're just gonna put that there. But it's a metallic matte liquid lipstick. It's comfortable, it's smooth, it's easy to use, and it really stays put really well. So I think it's fantastic. So as I said, I would give Pat McGrath an A. Let's move on to the next one, and that's Chanel. All right, so moving on to the Chanel collection. I would have to say I did not pick up everything from this collection because the colors really were not really my thing per se. But I would have to say I would give this collection overall a B. So this is the Aura Rose highlighter. I think it's a really great highlighter. It's not going to be, that great for my particular skin tone. I'm a little light for it, but I do think it's going to go well with deeper complexions. There is a deeper version of the highlighter as well. And, I think overall, they did a nice job for a particular color family. The eyeshadow quad and everything is kind of similar tones and stuff to this. And, everything was just a little bit warm. And I think overall, it's a nice collection, and it's going to suit a lot of people really well. Just because it wasn't my particular favorite, I have to say the quality was still there. So I would give it a B. One of the things that I personally feel about the highlighters, although they are nice, they're good quality, they're gigantic. So this is the oversized compact. There's an oversized bronzer that comes in this size. So this is actually 16 grams. I have no idea how to use 16 grams worth of a highlighter. So yeah, to me, it's just a little bit too big. But I'd have to say overall, their collection was okay. So, I'm kind of like, I would give it a B because it really does work well for, you know, medium and deeper skin tones, which, you know, a lot of holiday collections kind of exclude those. So I would give it a B because it does definitely accommodate other people. But for me personally, it's not that great. And I feel like the color stories and stuff that they used were nothing like new or special. So that's kind of why I get a B and not an A anyway. So let me know what your thoughts are on that, because I know that's kind of a little bit controversial. Now, moving on to the Dior holiday collection, I have to say I did not pick up the Dior holiday collection. I looked at it and, you know, I think it looks nice, but it looks like all of the ones they've had the last few years. So, you know, I can't truly grade that one based on quality or anything, but just based on what's there, I would give it a B, C kind of grade because it looks nice, but again, kind of repetitive. However, I did pick up the Dior Backstage palette. So this is a holiday for the Backstage collection. And this is the khaki neutrals. And I would have to give this palette itself a B. This is going to be soft, light, kind of golden and green tones. It's a little bit warmer than I expected. These are just two of the shades here. But it's going to give you a really nice soft, you know, look. It's just, it doesn't build up quite as much and it's not as sparkly as I thought. So, you know, I would kind of go like B, C kind of range, you know, like C plus B minus type. So I think it's okay, but I think there are better versions of this color story out there. So let's move on to some of those. Moving on, we have the Bobbi Brown Jade Stone palette. And, you know, we do have a very similar color story here to the Dior. And I mean, look at these side by side. You can see just looking at it that the Dior is going to be lighter and softer in coloring. That is true. However, overall, I feel like the Bobbi Brown palette is just more versatile, and you know, the metallic shades are going to be a little bit more shimmery. They're more present. And you can still make these really soft and light like the Dior, but you can also build these up a little bit more easily. So I feel like this is going to be a more versatile palette than the Dior. And overall, I would have to give the Bobbi Brown holiday collection a B. Let's look at another item. This is the Incandescent Glow palette. And I mean, the packaging on this collection is definitely one of the best this year. This is the Jade Stone packaging. Overall, I think Bobbi Brown really hit it out of the park with the packaging. And, you know, I would give her collection a B because I think we've got a really great winner in the Jade Stone. This is actually a nice collection. There's a copper glow as well, but it's a little bit overly shimmery for me personally. But the reason I'm giving it the B is actually more so just because we've got a lot of repeat shades in here. So the Luxe Eye and Cheek palette here, you know, you've got repeat shades of their Luxe eyeshadows in this palette and the Copper Glow version, which I did not purchase. Same thing with the lipsticks from the holiday collection. Again, you've got a lot of repeats. So, you know, that's all nice and all good, but you know, that's not going to bring it up to the A level in my opinion. You know, it's just kind of more repetition. So I would give it a solid B, but I would have to say that this Jade Stone palette is going to be one of my favorite holiday items from this whole season. So this palette itself would get an A for sure. Next, let's move on to the Tom Ford quads. So this is the Soleil Neige collection. This one here is Chalet Lust. And this one is Après Ski. And there's a lip balm as well, which I actually have downstairs. It's one of the clear lip balms that's pH activated. This one has silver leaf in there, similar to the gold leaf version that came out previously. I would have to say I give the Tom Ford collection a D. So, you know, I was really excited for this Chalet Lust color story. These shades here, I mean, they're shimmery, but they're really more like you don't really see much pigment in there. You know, they're so light, and I have no issue with having light colored shadows. However, all 4 of these shades look almost the same. So, you know, you can see looking at them that the tones are definitely different, but on the eye, because these are so light and so shimmery, you don't see as much of a difference as you would expect. I mean, those are the 3 shades there. You can see there's just not that different. Honestly, this is really just more like glitter. You're not really getting much color or pigment from there. The Après Ski palette is definitely better. This is nice. The color story is kind of repetitive from some of the other ones. So, you know, although the formula on this one's good, it's another repeat. And, you know, I just felt like everything was mediocre. And then this was really bad. So I would just bring the Tom Ford down to a D. However, one of my favorite holiday collections this year is the Cle de Peau, which kind of surprised me. This eyeshadow palette, when I first saw it, I was like, eh. But I love it. I think it's a really nice eyeshadow palette. This is also going to be very softly pigmented. You know, these are soft washes of color. I actually have the peach and the gold on kind of above this taupe eyeshadow. These are the other 2 shades in there. And these are going to be a little bit deeper, but it's a more powdery formula that can really soften out very well. So I think the eyeshadow palette's nice. I don't think the eyeshadow palette, though, is a must-have. If the whole collection were based off of that, it would not get an A. It gets an A for the luminizers and the lipsticks. So this luminizer in particular, this is 104 Radiant Superstar. It's been exclusive to the Cle de Peau website. And I love this one. This is the one that I've been reaching for all the time. You can see it's kind of warm, but it's got kind of this cooler tone gold in there, kind of like a gold and silver mixed together with some peach. And it just, you know, it's different. It's more unique. It's special. So I think that one's really great. The other highlighter in the collection is also really nice. This is 105 Shimmering Orb, but I feel like this one is more similar to some of the others in the permanent line, whereas I have not found one quite like the Radiant Superstar. So I think that one's really special, and I have a new favorite lip color from this holiday collection as well. That is the Stellar Red. So this is 523. It's actually a matte. Look at the packaging on these. So I love how you've got 2 different sides here. You've got the stars all here. You can, you know, kind of twist them if you want to mix things up. And this Stellar Red, I mean, every time I wear this, I get compliments on it. So that's right here. It is just this really beautiful red, but it's kind of like a deep rose mixed with a little bit of red. So it's not going to be too harsh. And, you know, it's got some cooler tones in it, but it has a little bit of warmer overtones on it as well. So it's pretty versatile, but, you know, I think it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous shade. So overall, though, I mean, the packaging on these is great. The products themselves are great. I would have to give the Cle de Peau an A. Let's do a one-off item here. This is the Makeup by Mario, and this is actually a limited edition palette. It's called Ethereal Eyes. This was his contribution to holiday this year, and I have to say I really like this palette. I think it's a great palette. I do wish that there were some cooler tones mixed in here, so for that reason I'm going to give it a B, because I feel like it's not wholly balanced. We do have a couple of cool tones in here, but there's still, here, that's that one right there at the top, so that's this shade. There's still just overall, this palette leans warm. And I think if it had been balanced a little bit more with some cooler tones in there, I would have moved that up to an A, because again, these shades are ones that, you know, pretty much everybody's going to already have in their collection. It's more about having them all in one place with the different finishes and so forth. So for it to truly be an A palette for me, you know, I would have liked some more special packaging. This is nicer than his standard eyeshadow palette, being metal here, but I would have preferred something a little bit more elaborate on this perhaps, and I would have preferred some cooler tones in there. So even if we just had the cooler tones, it would have moved up to the A in my book. We have another one-off for me. So this is actually the YSL Holiday Collection, and I would have to give the YSL Holiday Collection a B. I think they did a nice job. Their monos are great. Overall, I would have to say, you know, it's almost slipping to a C just because all of the items didn't come out at the same time. It was kind of hard to tell exactly what was part of the holiday collection and what wasn't. The clutch that came out, I did not pick up, but this is also present in the regular packaging, the, you know, permanent packaging. So it's not a new color story. The actual palette colors itself were out this summer. So, yeah, you know, I feel like, again, we've got repetition there going on. The monos, though, I think are where they shine. And this is one of my favorite items for the entire year, the year and holiday season. This is number 28 in the Satin Crush Monos. This is Unconforming Taupe. And I just think it is the best taupe eyeshadow. This is what's on my eyes. I wear it all the time. And I can make this look a little warmer, or I can make this look a little cooler. So it's really a true taupe. You can see you've got kind of the brown base there, and you've got more of the gray overtones. And it's just a really beautiful shade. There's a bronze shade as well that I did not pick up, but I have contemplated a few times, but it does look a little bit warmer. Overall, I think that they did a great job with the monos. There were some lipsticks as well that came out, but again, there wasn't really much like fanfare or, you know, announcement or anything on them. They just kind of pop up and that's it. So I feel like this collection overall, I would give a B. It would be a C if it weren't for this, but this mono is probably, you know, it might be my number one item from the holiday collection stuff overall. Like, I love this shade, and like so much I'm considering getting a backup, and I try not to buy backups of makeup since I have so much makeup. But it's that great. So that brings it up to a B, but otherwise I feel like they kind of phoned it in this year with YSL, and you know, it just wasn't anything spectacular otherwise. Next up, we have the Guerlain Holiday Collection, and I did not pick up the eyeshadow palette on this. I think the eyeshadow palette itself is kind of the weakest portion of this collection, and that's solely because these colors look so similar to previous palettes that they have released very recently. And, you know, I think it's okay. It also doesn't really, you know, it screams more spring to me, but I give it an A because, you know, Guerlain, they were the ones who came up with the first lipstick, and let's just say they have not lost their touch. So first of all, I love this gel gloss product that they came out with. I mean, look at that. That is stunning. This is great as a topper. You could use this on the eyes or on the cheeks and so forth as well. I like to use it on the lips, but they also came out with some lipsticks. So a couple of them were already pre-existing shades, but they did have some others. And this one here is 08. This is the case that came out with, and you can get these engraved for free on the mirror on the Guerlain website. So I put Wish on a Star on this one, and I think this one's like Shine Bright or something like that. So this is 08 Nude Alchemy, and this is just a beautiful like peachy nude with a touch of pink in there. It's become, you know, one of my go-to everyday shades. And then I love this 777 in the matte. This is the Berry Alchemy. And you can see it's definitely more pink than you might expect from looking at the bullet. The bullet looks more like a deeper purple. There have been new lipsticks that have come out since this one launched that are very, very similar in color. But I have to say, I really like this one. I think the formula stays put really well. I prefer like a matte formula with something this deep. And I just think it's really gorgeous. So I would give Guerlain an A. Next, we're moving on to Westman Atelier. And I would give Westman Atelier a B. They did come out with a couple of holiday boxes. One has a new set of iPods in there. The colors look nice. I did not try them because I don't love their formula. So I'm not grading this based off the formula on the iPods because, you know, I already know I don't like it. But based off of what they have contributed, you know, I would give them a B. They also have the petal box that came out, and I really like the petal box. However, I wish that they had used a different shade of blush. They used their petal blush, but it's kind of the shade that everybody has. So it would have been nice if they had, you know, used something a little different or changed it in some way. You know, maybe they made that one like radiant or something. But they did come out with petal version in the highlighting stick as well as the lip gloss. So the squeaky clean lip gloss, and this is the lit up highlighting stick in petal. I have to say I really like this highlighting stick. I don't typically love her highlighting sticks. I'm not sure why. They end up just kind of looking greasy on my skin usually with the color, or the color looks off. But this petal one looks more natural on my complexion. So I really like that. I love the color of the squeaky clean. And these are items that you can't buy individually. So, you know, that's nice, but not so nice. I would like to see them made permanent, and perhaps that'll happen in the future, like what happened with the Mimi blush that's around for at least a year. But, you know, overall, at least they came up with something a little bit more unique than just a collection of things that they have already in their line. Next up, let's take a look at Victoria Beckham. So I'm going to give this one a C. And the reason I'm giving this a C is because it really seems like they took this opportunity as a little bit of a cash grab. You know, they do this quite frequently where they will have a sale and then they'll release a new item the next day. But they broke up all of their holiday items, or the items that were being released right now for holiday season. You know, they broke them up so you would have to like make several purchases. I haven't even received everything yet. So they did release some jewel eyeliners. So I do like the jewel eyeliners. I don't love the gold one. I feel like the gold one doesn't have that much presence. But we've got Night Flash and Sequin Green here that I do like. And I am wearing Night Flash today. So they released these three. And I think they did a great job on them. Those are nice, right? Good grades. Then they released a new lid luster. Okay, it was nice, but it didn't quite live up to the color description, which was described more as an olive, and it's really more of a gold. Okay, then another week, they released a new lipstick, which I haven't received yet because I did not order that right away. Then another week, they released another eyeliner, and then in the regular line, and then they released another one of the jewel eyeliners, but it's like 5 to 6 different drops of things. And it really just seems more like it was done to make people make multiple orders, which I completely understand. You know, they are trying to make money, but it's also a little bit insulting, especially, you know, if it had been just like 2 or 3 breakups, you know, you can kind of look past that. But once you get 5 or 6 different little releases, that's getting to be a little bit too much. So that brought it down for me grade wise. But overall, I would have to say that the items that they've released that I've tried so far, you know, the actual quality of them seems on par with everything else from the line. And, you know, I would have to say that they're okay. You know, I would give the products themselves a B, but I would give the collection itself a C just for the way that they have launched this. Next, we're moving on to Suku. And Suku has 2 holiday launches. They always have a pre-holiday and a holiday. Their pre-holiday was kind of a little bit more bright. You have like a distinctly cool color story and a distinctly warm color story. To say, I really enjoyed everything from these launches. And, you know, their launches are typically not, you know, super well organized. It's not that they're not necessarily well organized. They might be organized on the back end, but it's kind of like, you know, things kind of, you know, you never know when something's going to pop up. Like it could be like now, it could be 20 minutes from now. You might have one item here and one item there. So it's kind of screwy. So I would have to give the pre-holiday a B just for that. I felt like A was, they launched, you know, internationally. They launched, you know, the whole worldwide all at the same time this time for the holiday collection. And I think that went a lot better. So I would give pre-holiday a B just for launch issues and A for the holiday. But overall, the products and everything they were an A. I mean, fantastic. So this one here, that's the 119 quad from pre-holiday. You've got some great blushes and everything in there. And then the holiday collection, you've got kind of stuff that's a little bit more neutral for the most part. We got this palette here for 121. And honestly, one of the best items is the Suku Lavender Powder, which is kind of hard to find now. But it's a Suku Oil Rich Glow Powder in shade 101. And it's this beautiful lavender powder. It does come with a puff. And they have a matte lip balm, which I actually have downstairs because I wear it every day. So it's sitting on my desk right now. But, you know, I would have to say, yeah, that looked at first like it wasn't going to be as special as the pre-holiday collection. But I think it had more special items in it than the pre-holiday. So, you know, it's just phenomenal. So Suku, pre-holiday, and holiday were both phenomenal. B for pre-holiday, A for holiday. Next, we have Charlotte Tilbury. And her holiday collection was a little different this year than usual. And I would have to say I would give her collection an A this year because she does have some different things, but yet she still has some staples that everybody loves to look at every year. One of those like recurring types of items is this Beautifying face palette. And, you know, she did not have her traditional, like, was it the eye and face look palette, whatever it's called? I actually don't have any of those, but she didn't bring that out this year. But she did have this, which has some, you know, some of her blush and highlighter formulas. This is the fair to medium one, and there's a deeper one as well. So I think that was nice. You know, she had some new lipsticks. I didn't pick those up either, but one of the best things that came out though were her pop shots. And these are the Hypnotic Pop Shots. They've got really nice festive packaging here. She has, these are all monos, but they're all different from each other. So this one here is going to be called Smoky Quartz. Let's put this next to the Unconforming Taupe from the YSL. And you can see it's going to be, it's more shimmery, but you know, she's got a whole bunch of different finishes here, different colors, some unique shades. Like this one here is Cosmic Rocks. This is a multi-chrome. I mean, look at the finish on this. It's beautiful. So, you know, I feel like she did kind of step out and do something a little bit more special for holiday this year. And the quality that she came out with for everything was great. Everything that I've tried has had really good quality from her. And I'm impressed with this launch. So I would give this one an A. Now, the Givenchy holiday collection, I'm forced to give this a B. It could potentially have been an A. There's this really beautiful eyeshadow palette that we were supposed to be getting. They did cancel my order when I ordered that, and I haven't seen it actually available anywhere. So I'm guessing they kind of ended up not bringing it to the US. So I think for that whole kind of like tease situation, it kind of knocked it down a little bit. And there just wasn't that much else to the collection, but they did come out with a new Prisma Libra powder, and this is gorgeous. I love this powder. This is number 12, Lumiere Polaire. I have this on today. And it's really, you know, it's a great powder. These are actually 4 different colors. And again, you can separate these if you want to use it for a little correcting. This one's not super shimmery, which really makes it great all year. The packaging is designed off of a puffer jacket, you know, and I like the concept of that, but I personally don't love the packaging. But they did release some lipsticks. So this one here is $3.38 in their new Silk Intense or Intense Silk lipstick line. Let's put that one. Let's put it right here. So this is going to be a new shade, and I have not seen it available in the permanent shades. You can see it's going to be a little bit more red, a little warmer than the Guerlain. But they did also come out with, you know, one of their recurring shades that from a permanent line, just with this packaging. And, you know, there's nothing like special on the engraving or anything on the bullets this year. So it just kind of, it was a little bit lackluster just because there wasn't that much that was new and special in this collection. So I would give it a B. Honestly, it would have been a C if it weren't for this powder, which is really great, and I think a really good addition to the current ones I already have. It's not too similar to any of the ones in the permanent line, but I do wish it was a permanent color story because it's really that good. Next, we have the Chantecaille Lotus collection, and I'm sorry to say, I give this one a C. This is the highlighter. I think it's a nice highlighter. I do use this highlighter, and I think it's, you know, it's a really pretty soft, you know, pink with a little bit of rose gold in there. It's a really pretty highlighter, but it is similar to others that they have. The blur powder, I think, just isn't quite as nice as the other blur powders. It's supposed to be a glow version. It's not that glowy to me. The blush, mine broke, so I returned it. But, you know, it was okay. I think Chantecaille did a really great job with their fall collection. The Cougar and Jaguar collections. But their holiday, you know, I don't like the packaging. It's not very holiday-like to me either. It's like a lotus roof, you know, like what's it called? Cross section of the lotus root, which I'm not sure why they chose this for holiday. Overall, though, I just feel like the packaging is not very luxe. The products are only okay. So this is a C bordering on D collection for me. And there was a lip crystal lipstick. I didn't pick that one up, so I can't judge that. But those are usually very nice and sparkly. So yeah, it's just eh. And then we have the Burberry holiday collection. And I have to say the formulas in this eyeshadow palette are incredible. I love this. This is the Monogram collection. I actually think Burberry did a really nice job with their holiday collection. They are not a company that goes all out for holiday. That is totally fine. You know, they kind of stuck with their tradition of releasing some sort of palette, whether it was like a face palette or an eye palette. They have an eye palette this year. And then some lipsticks. The lipsticks, we do have some, you know, recurring shades, but we also have some that I do not see in the permanent line. So, you know, I think it was a mix, which seems to be pretty standard among most collections. But really, this eyeshadow palette, the quality is great. I do wish that we had some cooler tones mixed in here. You know, I feel like a broken record saying that because I feel like a lot of companies have been trying to incorporate more like cooler tones, but they're not usually all that cool, even though they say they are. So we do have some cool shades in here, but it still leans more heavily warm. And I think if we had, you know, this one here, it looks more gray, but on the skin you can see it's really more brown. I think if we really did have like a couple more gray-based tones in here with this green, that would really kind of amp this palette up even more. The lipsticks though, you know, I thought they were really nice. So we have Olympia Red, which just go ahead and swatch this one here, but we're going to put this right in the middle. You can see it's kind of an in-between shade between the Guerlain and the Givenchy there. So again, we're kind of like in a similar color story there, but overall, you know, I think Burberry did a nice job. They have something more festive with their packaging. So overall, I would give them an A for this. And then last up, we have the Lisa Eldridge launch. And this was actually her holiday collection, but she released eyeshadow palettes. The eyeshadow palettes are new and permanent, so they're not like limited edition color stories or anything. This Sorcery palette is my favorite. And of course, sold out. She said this will be returning, but not until 2023. So probably with the spring collection, you can buy things, you know, as like refill shades and so forth. And I think that's a nice touch. She will be making individual palettes. So you can buy the actual component and the refills, create your own palette instead of just purchasing refills to kind of mix and match shades. So that's a good touch. She came out with some new lip colors, which I thought were really gorgeous. Overall, I think she had a great launch. And these are all items that you'll be able to see again. So, you know, I would give her launch an A. I think she did a really nice job on that. So those are my thoughts on the holiday collections this year. And I would have to say overall, I think that the holiday launches, you know, for the makeup industry as a whole, were average this year. You know, you've got some great collection. You have some, you know, kind of boring collections. But everything seemed like okay quality-wise and so forth for the most part. So I would say it's kind of like middling. And I do have some favorites though. So I did kind of go over some of my favorites during while I was talking. But definitely the Cle de Peau Stellar Red Lipstick in 523. That is a favorite. From Givenchy, the Prisme Libre in number 12, Lumiere Polaire, as well as the Suku powder in, you know, the lavender powder in 101. The matte lip balm in 101 from Suku. Those are kind of like my favorites from there. And then I really did love this 121 eyeshadow quad from them. Also, Charlotte Tilbury, the Pop Shots are a favorite. The face palette's actually a favorite as well. It's one that I just keep reaching for because the colors are so everyday wearable. But, you know, one of my all-time favorites, as I mentioned, and I'm trying to find in this big mess now, is the YSL Taupe. Oh, here it is. This is probably the best item that I picked up from any of the holiday items. This is definitely a winner. Other winners for me were the Bobbi Brown Jade Stone palette and the Pat McGrath Blue Mascara. I feel like was a really special addition. That would be my favorite item from her holiday collection as well. The Guerlain lipstick in 08, which is the Nude Alchemy. This is a favorite. The Petal Lit Up Stick from Westman Atelier, you know, so those are kind of my favorites. The Burberry eyeshadow palette, Lisa Eldridge Sorcery. So those are kind of my standouts. Those are the items that, you know, I'm so happy I was able to get those. The Cle de Peau highlighter, by the way, in the was it the 104? Yes, the 104 Radiant Superstar. This is another one of those. So those are kind of all of the items that I think just really stood out to me to be like true favorites, not just a holiday favorite, but a favorite item that I will, you know, reach for throughout the year and so forth as well. So those I think were all just incredible. So I would love to know what your thoughts are on all the holiday collections that have come out. Have you had any favorites, any major fails? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you very soon. So have a wonderful day.